Varun's time in Kota had been a grueling marathon of discipline and rote learning. He thrived under the strict schedules, the constant pressure to excel. The reality, however, was different. Varun as Varun. The lecture hall was half empty. Students slouched in their seats, scrolling through phones. The professor's monotone droned on, the equations on the board blurring into a meaningless jumble. I struggled to focus, my mind rebelling against this newfound laxity. Where was the rigor, the passion? This wasn't the IIT I had envisioned. He missed the crowded classrooms of Kota, the fierce competition, the teachers who pushed them to their limits. The weight of his expectations pressed down on him. He'd sacrificed so much for this. His friends, his hobbies, his teenage years, all offered at the altar of IIT. Varun, as Varun, days turned into weeks, the initial novelty wearing thin. I excelled in exams, my Kota training kicking in, but there was no joy in it, only a dull sense of obligation. I felt like a machine programmed to study and succeed, but devoid of any real purpose. One evening, after a particularly uninspiring lecture, Varun found himself wandering towards the canteen. The aroma of samosas and chai filled the air, a welcome distraction from his thoughts. Shantanu, as Shantanu. Hey, you're new here, right? I'm Shantanu. Varun as Varun. Shantanu was everything Varun wasn't. He was laid back, carefree, and seemed to possess an effortless charm that drew people to him. Over cups of steaming chai and greasy samosas they talked. Varun learned that Shantanu was a third-year student, his easygoing demeanor a stark contrast to Varun's own tightly wound persona. Varun as Varun, I found myself opening up to Shantanu, sharing my confusion and disappointment. I told him about my rigorous Kota schedule, the relentless pressure, the expectation that IIT would be the ultimate academic paradise. Shantanu listened patiently, a knowing smile playing on his lips. Shantanu as Shantanu. You know, I had a friend back in Kota, brilliant guy, always topped the class, but he was so focused on getting into IIT that he forgot how to live. Varun as Varun. What happened to him? Varun's breath caught in his throat. The story hit too close to home. Shantanu as Shantanu. Look, IIT isn't about cramming yourself with information. It's about exploring, experimenting, finding your own path. Sometimes that means skipping a lecture or two. For the first time since arriving at IIT, Varun felt a spark of excitement. Shantanu's words were like a breath of fresh air, a reminder that there was more to life than chasing grades and accolades. They talked for hours, the canteen slowly emptying around them. Shantanu's stories painted a vivid picture of a vibrant, unconventional world, a world that both scared and excited Varun. He realized that his rigid routine, his relentless pursuit of perfection, had blinded him to the possibilities that surrounded him. Shantanu wasn't advocating for laziness, Varun realized. He was simply suggesting a different approach, one that valued exploration and self-discovery as much as academic excellence.
So what do you say? Ready to break free from the Kota chains?
Varun hesitated, his heart pounding in his chest. He looked at Shantanu, his face a picture of confidence and freedom, and a slow smile spread across his face. The next morning, Varun found himself standing outside the lecture hall, his stomach tied in knots. The familiar guilt gnawed at him. He'd always prided himself on his perfect attendance, his unwavering dedication. But then he remembered Shantanu's words. Sometimes the best learning happens outside the classroom.
He took a deep breath and turned away from the lecture hall, the weight of expectations lifting from his shoulders. For the first time, he felt truly free. Varun walked towards the campus gardens, a sense of adventure bubbling inside him. The world was vast and full of possibilities.